Why do banks reject profitable businesses? Well, there are 5 huge reasons that no one else is going to tell you. And the last one means that there are some banks that are never going to approve you, no matter how profitable your business is. But first, make sure you subscribe if you want insider info on business and investing from a straight talker who has over 2 decades of business and legal experience. The first reason why a bank would reject a profitable business is because the business owner is stripping out all of the equity. What I mean by that is the business owner is taking out all of the profits. This usually leaves the company in a position where its assets on the balance sheet are financed primarily with outside debt instead of retained earnings or cash that the business owner or owners has injected in. This results in a high leverage position that makes it difficult for the business to weather an economic downturn. And if it does, if the business wants to stay afloat, what's going to have to happen is the business owner is going to have to take cash and inject it into the business. And if they can't do it because they don't have the money, they went and spent it all on something else, well, then they're going to be screwed and the business is going to have to shut down, or they're not going to be able to make payroll and they're going to be running to the bank trying to figure it out. That's what usually happens. So what you need to do if you're worried about this is you need to pull up your balance sheet and you need to look at one thing, and that's your debt to equity ratio. Okay. Take your total liabilities and divide them by total equity, also known as net worth. If it's 5 times or more, meaning your debt is 5 times higher than the equity in the company, that's pretty high. And this, of course, depends on the industry. For some industries, that's not that high, but for most regular industries, that's getting high. And you're probably going to want to do something about it. You're probably going to want to, in the next period, to retain some of the profits and not take them out, or you're going to want to take a little bit of your cash and inject it into the business so that there's a cushion there, especially if you're trying to get financing and grow. And that's another good point, is that if you have a growing business, you want to leave some of the profits in the company so that you can invest in assets that need to be purchased so the business can grow, or you can invest in hiring new employees. Because if you go to a bank and you want to get financing for those things, they're going to expect you to have some skin in the game and put some money in as well. Now, there's one important caveat that I think needs to be brought up, and that's if you own a professional type of business, if you are an attorney or you are a doctor and you have your own practice, a CPA firm, something like that, it's usually normal for those types of businesses to take all of the profits out of the business every year. And that's because they're worried about liability and there's a potential of being sued a little bit higher than other industries. All right, the second reason why a bank would reject a profitable business is if it's relatively new and isn't able to show that it has at least 3 years of profitable operations. And this is a tough one. If you started the business last year, but you're profitable, that's great news. But it's going to be really hard to go out there and get traditional bank financing. You're probably going to need to go to a bank where you can use some type of government guarantee program to help, because that reduces the bank's risk and will probably allow them to make a loan to you because of that risk being reduced. All right, the third reason why a bank would reject a profitable business is because you have declining revenue or profitability trends. You might be profitable now and your gross and your net margins look fine, but if the trends are going in the wrong direction, the bank's going to think in a couple years or maybe even a year that you're not going to be profitable anymore. So if that's the case, what I would tell you to do is to put some projections together for how you're going to turn that trend around. Maybe you've got a new product coming out. Maybe you're hiring some new people if you're in a service business. Maybe you're adding something new. Whatever it is, make sure you tell them about that. Build some projections out of what you think is going to happen and give that to your bank. All right, the fourth reason why a bank would reject a profitable business is because they have issues with the management team or the owners. And I see this all the time. And what happens is you get an owner or a management team that are making some decisions that spook the bank or have done things in the past that might spook them. Or maybe the owner is in bankruptcy, or perhaps the bank has a prior relationship where this happens with home builders. Let's say in the prior recession that they were unable to pay the bank back and left them hanging. They're going to remember that. And a lot of them are not going to do business with them in the future. All right, the fifth reason why a bank would reject a profitable business is because of the industry type. There are lots and lots of banks who are scared of certain industries, and no matter how amazing your business looks, they're not going to touch it. This means you're going to have to go find a bank that specializes in lending to that industry. For example, if it's a gas station, a lot of lenders are really scared of the environmental risk, and so they're probably not going to do it. You're going to have to find one that loves working on gas stations. They know them well. They know how to identify risk within the industry, and they're going to do it for you if everything looks okay. If you want to know more about the specific industries, check out the video that I did that talks about the specific industries that banks are afraid of. I think you'll be really surprised when you see some of those. Let me know what questions you have. Happy to help. And by the way, if you are interested in specific business ideas, check out my other channel, Unique Business Ideas Daily.